Thank you so much, Ryan. This is Ted Williams, the greatest hitter who ever lived. He hit 521 career home runs, despite just 3 years of his time in the military service. But he's most well known for his remarkable 406 batting average, a measure of hits over at bats. And for centuries, the world determined whether or not a player was effective based largely on that single stat, the batting average. Anything above 300, and you were considered a pretty good player. That all changed with the Oakland A's in 2002, a team with just a 261 batting average, and nearly the lowest payroll in baseball, won 103 games at one point, 20 in a row. So how did they do it? Analytics. Looking at stats differently. The book Moneyball chronicled the journey of A's general manager Billy Beane, when he took baseball evaluation from one of gut instinct to one of intense qualitative rigor and intense quantitative rigor. It changed the way players were evaluated throughout the league. And it changed my life too. When I was a young boy, I fantasized about being general manager of the Boston Red Sox. Any other baseball GM fantasizing here? One of theirs. All right, you'll be better. I love the game of baseball, more of the crowd, the crowd that. But more importantly, I love the stats. Hits, runs, walks, RBIs, numbers over the game. So I took a course in college on clutch hitting. I studied statistics, and I submitted my report to all 30 Major League Baseball teams, ready to become the next Billy Beane. And I got the rejections. But my first love was always public service. Being from Massachusetts and working at the center to take Kennedy my first job made me realize the impact that public service can have on people and social enterprises. And then I got lucky. In 2013, State Representative Martin J. Walsh became the first new mayor of Boston in 20 years. When we met, he told me he wanted Boston to be the first true 21st century American city and be deeply data-driven. In essence, he asked me if I could help him make Boston the first true Moneyball mayoral administration. The city of Boston is a $2.8 billion organization. If it were the private sector, it would be a Fortune 1000 company and deeply data-driven. But we've all heard it before. The public sector can't be like the private sector. It's slow, it's bureaucratic, it's inefficient. And most people only think about engaging with the government twice a year. Through voting if we're lucky, or through paying taxes. But what if I told you today it didn't have to be that way? What if I told you today that the fact that we're not getting more involved is costing all of us every single day? Just how much? Research by McKinsey has shown that not using data better in the public sector is costing us over $3 trillion annually. And yet an unlikely source, baseball, has provided us a path. First, the stats. Stats in baseball weren't widely used until the 19th century, until a guy named Henry Chadwick started tracking when he was sitting on the field. And widespread use of those stats weren't really used until the 1950s. Similarly, in the public sector, the technology to track everything from potholes to library users wasn't really there until recently. So in Boston, we set out to prove them all. First, the mayor came in can see here, we track every single neighborhood he goes to, so that in 30 days we evaluate if he needs to go to a different neighborhood that he hasn't paid as much attention to. And on the bottom right-hand corner, you can see all of the narcotics-related incidents in the city, and how it compares to the year before, day by day, month by month. And what we saw is that the catalyst really started to buy in, and the culture started to really adapt. We heard a story about a veteran service secretary, for example, who was so excited about tracking the number of calls coming in that she rallied everyone around her, beat the score from the day before. But we realized that in order to really get the best data, we had to engage the public. And we had to engage the public where they were in terms of how engaged they wanted to be in Boston, at the low, the medium, and the high levels of engagement. So for the low, a baseball player needs to get hits to stay in the league. And there's a certain kind of hit that a mayor always needs to get in order to stay in office. And that's a trash collection. You've probably seen these all around your city. As a matter of fact, HBS has them all on their campus. They look fancy, they have illuminating lights, they have the solar panels and the handle. But what's interesting is that for every little piece you throw out in this trash, you are civically participating and making city services better in your area. Because where you see this, we actually see this. Real-time fill levels of all the trash cans all around our city. And what about for the medium level engagement? People want to get a little more involved, get back a little more. Well, cities around the country now are using private sector partnerships to help us learn more about ourselves. And we've partnered with a company called Waze. Who has the Waze app here? Can we use Waze? Wow, a lot. All right. There's 450,000 users of Waze in the Boston area. And whereas you guys are using Waze to help you get from point A to point B faster, they are giving us that data to optimize the products. With that data, to help us better serve all of you. So we have data like this, where we're getting data from point A to point B. We're even getting all the reports of double parked cars around the city. So this is an output from not too long ago, all the double parked cars during rush hour in Boston. This is really amazing to see that, and it allows us to get a ton of different insights. And what about for people who really want to get involved? People who want to be the giving citizen and constituent of Boston. Well, cities around the country are turning to 311 apps. Download them on your phone, you can report everything from burnt out street light to the block. This is a look at Boston's 311 app, and these are the different things that you can report. But with Boston, we wanted to make sure that we were getting, we wanted to make sure not to lose the advantages. So we did it a little differently. So in Boston, when we were caught a pothole, not only did we get a photo of a filled pothole, but we get a photo of a team that filled that pothole. It's our way of making things a little bit more personal. But let's take a step back for a second. Let's go back to the baseball analogy. Just having that data is meaningless unless you figure out how to apply it. A manager decides the data, like whether to put on an output shift, whether to send a runner. So in Boston, we're just following that model. We're doing the same thing at the low, medium, and high levels of the game. So let's go back to the data trash example. Having these real-time fill levels allow us all kinds of insights about what trash cans fill at the time. So gone are the days of wasting gas on up one street, down the other, checking each one, all of that. And instead we optimize it purely based on demand. It's not just looking at it over the course of the year, but it's looking at it day by day, seasonality. When it gets warm, we know how full trash is going to be. When there are parades, we know when that is too. So that instead of seeing what you see after parades, the overflowing trash cans, we get anticipated based on now years of data that is in this information. And what about waste? One of the coolest things we saw that when I first came to City Hall is that there are these people called traffic managers in City Hall. And they sit in a camera room full of cameras at every key intersection around Boston and synchronize the lights based on what kind of traffic they're seeing. So we took all that waste data and we partnered with the traffic management people. And we taught them how waste worked and how it gave the data and how it anticipated traffic. And we took the entire camera array and we built in a Waze dashboard right into the middle of the camera array, as you can see here. So not only are you just looking at intersections and having that little view, but now you're able to see real-time data of where the traffic is. And this is at Atlantic Avenue of July of 2015, 39% of all of our submissions were done online. And so we've seen some amazing results in taking what is learned at places like HBS that's typically reserved for the private sector and applied to the public sector. But we thought we shouldn't just stop there. We should just stop taking data and applying. And we look back at how the progression happened in baseball in this regard. First, it started with just looking at a player and saying, wow, that guy was good, he can swing a bat, let's sign up for the Red Sox, right? Then it went to average, with one simple variable of hits over at bats. Then that evolved on-base percentage, times on base over plate appearances, so walks, hits, or moving by pitch. But now it's leapfrog in baseball. Now it's leapfrog, really advanced stuff, like wins above replacement, which is batting adjustments, base running adjustments, field adjustments, positional adjustments, league adjustments, replacement runs, over runs per inning. A huge complicated algorithm, right? But rolls up and gives an output that's very simple to understand, which is how many more wins a player brings in than another player would at that position. So we thought about how we can take all the data we're collecting and roll it up into something very easy to understand. And we thought to ourselves, what are the models that can really help us understand how to take it to that level? Back to the mayor's dashboard. Service level percentage on our call center became our average, our first step. This says 91.3% of service level percentage. So a very simple equation. It's the number of calls answered in 30 seconds over total calls. And what we saw was the mayor in his office would be in a meeting. Maybe the meeting was a little boring. Maybe it wasn't the best meeting to be in. We look up and say, why is service level percentage lower than it should be? Call up to the service center and figure out what's going on. And so we realized that the mayor was reacting to that. We figured, how can we take it to the next level? How can we figure out an algorithm that tells us instantly how well we're doing as a city delivering city services? And on all levels, not just in one particular area, but in all kinds of city services. And then think about what would happen if we were able to really perfect this. And cities around the country used it. And that cities thought of data as a friend rather than just some hypothetical fancy thing that might get them voted out of office. And we thought about it long and hard, and we think we've come up with a solution that we just launched last month. And we're calling it City Score. It's a way of taking all of the data that we measure every single day and contextualizing it and taking action on it. Here's a look at how it works. Data you can see in every single city. Veterans counts, parts grants dollars, Wi-Fi availability. All this stuff in your individual stats, the like wins above replacement, rolling up into a single score. That's very simple. Anything above 1 means we're doing well and exceeding our targets. And anything below 1 means we're improving. And here's how it would look like for someone who has all the data of public work. Yes, things like sidewalk repair on time percentage and total tons of residential waste, but also city score that tells us, okay, you're above 1, you're doing pretty well, and this is how well you're doing. And we realized, why don't we make this publicly available? So if you go to boston.gov/cityscore right now, you will see this, which is, and this is not illustrative, this is actual readout from Friday of how we're doing as a city. And you can see how we're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And you can see things like sign installation on time was down for the day, but over the course of the week, month, quarter has improved. And every single day we're looking at this, and in fact, we're summarizing this even more for the mayor. We're giving the top 5 places we're exceeding our expectation, and the bottom 5 follow up where we're not. And we're intentionally phrasing follow up so that we wouldn't create some tension among people who are at the bottom 5. We're able to put the right image in front of us of what was going on. And you can see at the bottom there our city score overall, all of this data, overall how we're doing each day, each week, each month, each quarter. And again, this is publicly available work. This is stuff you can go online and see. And the results have been, in just 1 month, incredible. Our streetlight repair team, for example, saw that they were on the roll in city score, got together, figured out a plan, and in 2 weeks cleared their entire backlog of streetlights that they're calling this. You have teams working together like never It's unbelievable. And we see that there's going to be more of these examples as we go on. Now, the administration feels, and every elected official feels, that nothing will ever replace the shaking of a hand or the appearance at a community meeting or any of the in-person things that you do as an elected official. But with data, you can unlock so much that everybody would want in their city to make better. We're not stopping here. We're looking at things like scouring Craigslist with an algorithm to target landlord people who are overselling their apartments at overcapacity. We're looking at how we use predictive analytics to stop opioid overdoses before they start. The list goes on and on. But in order to get all this, and in order to use all this data to provide, we need your help every day. So throw out your trash and big yellow trash. Download the Waze app and report that pothole using 311. Be a part of the new world that helps government help people through technology. And you'll be making your city better one day